So residents of Ejekojo had went through actually a number of series of issues the year. Handful of residents of Ejekojo in the Tema West constituency whose homes were demolished by the Tema Development Corporation earlier this year say they will continue to stay put despite reports of compensation offers to get to them to leave actually. But some of the residents are said to have offered they have been offered 2,000 Ghana cedis to relocate, an offer which appears to have been largely rejected. Though the number of the affected families have declined considerably, the few remaining insist they would rather go to the court or the court pronounced on their case. This story was aired on the 24th of September 2014. Let's take a watch again.
For more than 5 months since their homes were demolished, the residents have continued to live on the land, even in the face of continuous harassment by unidentified security men.
But I wonder why security apparatus comes in for a tent that have been provided by NADMO. I don't know the interest that they have in the tent.
No one has come to you to give you any money of that sort?
They can't come to my house.
Why?
In the sense that as a citizen of this nation, the action of the TDC and his alliances seems to be barbaric. So I'm not expecting any of them, not until the court or the final judgment comes out. Before, if anyone gives me something, I can take it.
Are you ready to accept any form of compensation?
No. Absolutely no. So we are not living here today, tomorrow. A form of compensation, you see, money does everything. But they must calculate the damage cost before they compensate.
Others, although disappointed by the actions of the national security, hoped government will fast-track its investigations.
Everyone to member. Now that the cost of 20 million, but my whole vote now. My whole vote now. Me 20 million. I'm going to have one quarter. I'm going to put on nine. I'm going to put my bottom 9.2 my bottom 9. Can I pay for my I don't go. Man, I'm not made out. Come on, see, wait up.
This is the plight of several of these residents who for over 5 months continue to live in the rubble of their demolished homes. They're still calling on government to intervene in this matter. Matilda Homaga for Joy News, Tema.
Right, so you just saw that, we're basically looking at human rights issues that happened in the year, the abuses, the favors and all. The year 2014 actually has witnessed a number of those issues related to human rights of citizens. We have witnessed a number of demolitions which have gained prominence and attention from our politicians. You remember there was wailing and weeping in Ejekojo in January when the Tema Development Corporation demolished dozens of houses in that section of the metropolis. The demolition exercise rendered about 3,000 residents in the area, which is at the heart of Tema West constituency. It rendered all those residents homeless. Also in September, a task force of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly AMA demolished shops and illegal structures at Mensa Guinea, a slum behind the Center for National Culture in Accra. The city authorities cited the insanitary conditions in the area and other places as a major contributory factor to the recent outbreak of cholera in the capital. The AMA had carried out similar exercises at Agbogloshi, Abuja, and other areas in the city. So these are a series of demolitions that you kind of tampered with residents' comfort that happened during the year. It did not even start from beginning of the year, just a small portion within the year, and a whole lot of people were rendered homeless. Is it the fault of those residents, or it's on the part of the authorities who really was at fault to let all this happen? I have with me in studio Samuel Agboche. He is the executive director of IDEC and also a human rights activist, and he is going to help us to review the human rights issues that happened in the year 2014. I'm in such a hurry. Merry Christmas to you, Samuel.
Many happy returns.
Right, a lot of demolitions.
Merry Christmas to our viewers as well.
Right, they are grateful for the wish. A lot of demolitions happened during the year 2014, and over 3,000 residents rendered homeless. So far, some of them still haven't been compensated properly. Of course, there's been offers, but for them, it's not up to what can really relocate them from even the conditions they were wishing for better. So far, what do you make of this? And moving on, what's the hope?
Yeah, of course, 2014 hasn't been a good year for us human rights activists and then human rights watchers. Yeah. We think that there were too many of abuses, especially the evictions that happened within the year. We made a lot of noise about it, and we made it very clear that this kind of evictions fall far short of international standard, which we elaborated during the year. Actually, was it a good thing to see women and children sleeping outside? These are fellow human beings, just like you and I. They found themselves in this situation. Some of it not because of their own fault, but because of circumstances beyond their control. So they decided to settle at places where they can make a living and also look after their children. And so when you are going to move these people, or you're going to sack them, or you're going to remove them from where they are, it's just appropriate that you do the right thing by adding a human face to it. Those people we've seen in the script are not claiming ownership of the land on which they have settled. You know, as human beings, definitely you have to settle somewhere. Exactly. Whether you have the money or not, you definitely have to settle somewhere. Yeah. You need to be somewhere where you can sleep, where you can call home, where you can work and make a living.
Let's look at the Tema Metropolis situation, for instance. Yes. The issue came that they are supposed to be aware that the place is not for sale, and that it belonged to the Tema TMA. Yes. In that situation, would you consider that as human rights abuse?
No, as I said earlier, the people, some of them, I mean, the beginning of the issue, some of them claim they've bought the land. Some of them claim they have bought the land. Others settled there, not claiming ownership to the land. But see, the issue is that when human beings are settled, or they settle somewhere, they are human beings.
They're human beings. They have a right to shelter.
They have the right to shelter. And it is the responsibility of the state, that's the government, which all of us belong to. And some of us pay tax for the government to use that to protect us. Exactly. To give us shelter and to give us food and other things. Yeah. So it's just normal that when you are removing these people who are not claiming ownership, those who are claiming ownership to the land, have we sat down to look at the documentations and realize that yes, they don't have title to the land? If they don't even have title to the land, how are you removing them? Yeah. I always ask for a plan, eviction plan. A plan before the demolition, a plan during demolition, and a plan after the demolition. Most of the time, we don't see anything. Yeah. People just get up because the court has granted them ownership to the land, or they want to do something on
For
the
the
land.
people of Ejekoju, they still have no shelter.
Yes. You see, so you just take the bulldozer, and then because you have the power, you know, human rights is about power play.
Yeah.
The vulnerable and the most powerful in society. And as human rights activists, we will not speak mostly for the powerful and the rich in society, because these are people who have access to the law court, they have access to resources, they can defend themselves when it comes to defending their own right. But it is the vulnerable who cannot access the court, who do not have the resources to...
Sometimes they don't even understand what goes into my rights.
Yes. You see, so these are the people we have to speak mostly for. So most of the time we are accused of being biased. It's not because we are biased, but these are vulnerable people who do not have voice. How many of those people we have seen over there could walk to this studio and say that we are coming to speak for ourselves?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
You see, so the powerful, the rich, let's have a plan for demolition.
Yeah.
What are we doing before the demolition? What are we doing during demolition? And what are we going to do to the people after the demolition?
But why wait for development to take place when you know that kind of development should not be there? That doesn't mean somebody's not doing his or her
Yes,
work.
of course. Of course.
Don't they see when the development begins?
Yeah, the issue is that do not allow the people to settle in the first place.
Exactly.
If you have a land, a government property or government land, and you are unable to protect the land from encroachers or settlers or dwellers,
Yeah.
once the people have settled on the land, when you are evicting them, you have no choice than to follow internationally laid down principles. Anything short of that, then you are violating the right of these people, and you are violating the international convention that Ghana government has signed up to.
Does anybody obey these principles and laws and regulations?
No, we have to.
Do they know about them?
They know. We have signed out to these international declarations. We have signed out to them. So definitely we don't have any choice. You know, most of the time we think that we are not being watched. The whole world is watching us. As a country, our image outside is also enhanced by the way we protect the vulnerable
Within the country.
not only the rich. How we protect the vulnerable, the right of the vulnerable in society. The world is watching us. Every year, you see the UN coming out with a human rights report on each country. There are countries that are doing very, very, very bad. For Ghana, largely we are doing very well, but these small things, incidents that are happening, is tarnishing our image as a government, as a country.
Okay.
And we cannot run away from this fact. If not, there's no need. Then it's useless for us to go and sit down and sign up to international standard that we declare to protect and promote the right of our citizens. When you sit down there as a government and people take bulldozer and go and bulldoze people out because they are settling on a land that is claimed not to be theirs. And these are powerless. Women and children, pregnant women, school-going children who are supposed to go to school. Their pencils, their pens, their books, their exercise books are destroyed mostly in this demolition. What have we considered before moving in to make these children homeless?
But as a human rights activist, I quite remember you initiated some action against AMA after the Mensa Guinea demolition. How far with that?
We experienced some challenges in our quest to go to court, and the case is not died yet. We can go to court at any time. Okay. But the most important thing is the work your outfit has done and the work we have done, which we have seen some results. You remember the local government minister has issued a moratorium on the mayor of Accra to suspend all demolition exercise until the proper thing is done. And he instructed that. It's heartwarming when I hear some of this things. He instructed that henceforth, before he embarked or any other district assembly or municipal assembly embarked on demolition exercise, he, the local government minister, should be consulted. That's somebody that I believe is concerned with the image these municipal assemblies and district assemblies are creating for Ghana internationally, because we are unable to protect our own people who are Ghanaian. These are not people from the moon. They are Ghanaians who are settling by virtue of the conditions in which they found themselves. Therefore, we don't have any choice than to protect them. So we were a bit satisfied with the local government minister's instruction. And we have watched from afar and realized that since then, there hadn't been any demolition exercise till now, except the second one. That one has to do with the expansion of the construction of the overpass. So we are a bit satisfied. We are watching. We can always go to court on some of these issues. Okay, but watching from afar, the demolitions that have happened so far, let's even put aside legalities. Are they appropriate? No, absolutely not. Because sometimes, if, for instance, when you come to the Odona along the big storm drain, it's appropriate because then it's not safe for the people who were lodging there, the squatters who were lodging there. So for that one, it was appropriate because whenever it flooded, those people got affected, and it brought more stress on government and funding. So for that one, yes, it was appropriate. But let's go to the generally all the demolitions that took place in 2014. Were they appropriate? No, if we want to mark its appropriateness or their appropriateness, then we have to match it with the international standard. When you are evicting people from a particular place, what are you supposed to do? Whether it is the AMA or whoever, an individual or whoever that is evicting people from a particular place, what are they supposed to do? You're supposed to come out with a plan to see how is this eviction going to affect the life of the people. How can their suffering, mind you, evicting people is the last resort. Evicting the people should be the last resort. You would have considered all the alternatives and realized that we have no other choice than to move these people from this place. Sometimes some individuals too, they will come and ask in all mercy, and you sympathize and you grant them the space. And sometimes you even go ahead and out of that sympathy, you don't really prepare paperwork, no documentation, but you verbally you go into an agreement that you can be pensioned here for this number of months or years or that kind of thing. Then when it is time and you need your space and you go asking, now you are at their mercy. And in those circumstances, when you apply any force, any third party thinks that you are not being patient and that a right procedure must be followed. What becomes of that agreement? Usually verbal agreements are also considered as agreement, but normally, I mean, when you have these things written, now, even, you know, sometimes human right and legality is a bit complex. We would prefer the human face. This is somebody you have offered a space to stay for a while. When it is time for that person to move, will you consider the person's current situation and see if the person on his own or her own will be able to move out? What assistance can you offer at that point in time? Okay, so let's also play the reverse. You are a human rights activist, so this person consider the current situation, but have you also, won't the person also, isn't it okay or appropriate for the person to also consider my current situation and realize that I also need? If it were me, probably I have the resources to even move before you even ask me to move. If the person cannot move, that means that it presupposes that the person do not have the capacity to move himself or herself. We are talking about the vulnerability of the people. So what do you do? What do you do? So this is a human being. So what do you do? So what you do is to assist the person either to relocate, or probably you support the person financially or whatever means that is possible for the person to relocate. So now the person becomes a burden. Yes, it becomes a burden because the person is a burden already. He doesn't have the resources. If you don't have the resources to be able to go and rent, you think that these people at J-Kojo and other things don't want to be at East Legon? They don't want to be at Tasako. They wouldn't like go and put them at AU village and see whether they will also enjoy life. You know, sometimes circumstances made us very vulnerable, as if you are less human being. But no matter what the situation is, the UN Declaration on Human Rights clearly stressed that human beings are born with dignity and respect.
Yeah.
Therefore, no matter, you see, they are born with it. These rights, we have been born with it, dignity and respect. So, no matter the condition of the person, we have no other choice than to respect and give the person the dignity the person deserves. That is why even if you are dead, that is why even if you are dead, dead people don't do anything. They don't move. They are supposed to be useless. But look at how we respect the dead.
Yeah.
Even in death, you do not lose your dignity.
No.
Your dignity.
Even if you had no dignity at all whilst living, once dead, there's some dignity restored immediately.
That is it. So it tells us that human beings, we have our right that we are born with.
Yeah.
And you cannot take it from us just because we are poor or vulnerable. You can't do that.
Just this month, the Bonyasa Winch camp was closed down.
Yes.
But there are 5 others. Have we done enough to we really protect the aged who are proclaimed to be witches? Of course, every witch is an aged person.
Yes, we have. How long has those camps been in existence? If you are able to close one, even though out of so many it will sound insignificant, but it's a step.
Okay.
If we are able to close one in 2014, if the next 5 years or 10 years we can close the next one, but I am expecting that 2015 we should be able to close more camps. You know, this issue about witch and so on, I've been involved in some community mediation and dialoguing on people who perceive to be witches and so on and so forth. And I ask them, I always ask them, when you say the person is a witch, so you drive the person out of the community. But witches are supposed to be flying, right?
They're supposed to be spiritual.
Yes, they are supposed to be spiritual. They can
physical.
fly, they can go anywhere. So when you drive away,
it makes it easier.
Yeah, you make the person even more angrier. The person becomes angry
and more aggressive.
So what is the best way of handling so-called witches?
Why not be nice
Be
to
nice
them?
to the person.
So they will go out and rather protect you.
Yeah, they would rather use their powers or whatever to protect you. What is the essence of sacking a witch or beating a witch?
Who works in the spirit?
Who works in the spirit? It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
So I tell them, under the UN declaration and then under the Constitution of Ghana, we have freedom of worship, freedom of belief and conscience. Whatever you think that spiritually can protect you, you are free to go for it. And if you think that the person is a witch, you two go and get some of the witch or get some power, go and reinforce your powers and so on. It is completely unacceptable when you begin to attack a witch physically. Physically, that one is against the right of the witch. Let's allow them to practice whatever religion, whatever belief they have. That is their belief. We have no business at all.
But you see, the elders of within those communities, the chiefs and elders within those communities also do argue that it is by practice, observation, that made them settle for a camp for these so-called witches. That when they are there, their families, sometimes the families or the community members, they attack them physically. And so to protect these same accused witches, they created the camp for their own safety.
Yes, I mean, initially when this camping thing started, when you look at the history, it was not because they wanted to create a community for the witches. I don't think a witch or witches can be confined to a particular geographical area. It was because the family and friends were reacting negatively to the accusation of being a witch. They were being tagged. So for their own safety, they decided to keep them there. But that idea, the whole practice has gone beyond that idea.
Yeah.
Every now and then, they are pushed physically to go and stay in the camp.
I see.
So, to be frank with you, we need to embark on aggressive public education on human rights. And I want to commend your station for spearheading some of this crusade. And I pray that 2015, let's do a bit more. And let's take the education to the people. If we can take the education to the people, that will also help. To tell the people that, look, you have no business attacking a witch or labeling somebody to be a witch.
Did you witness the closure of the Bonyasa witch camp?
No, I wasn't there, but I watched.
Okay, then let me refresh a bit more. So let's quickly take a watch at the closure of Bonyasa witch camp once more, as covered by Joy News.
Witchcraft accusation, especially wrongful accusation, is a death sentence.
She's just saying that being called a witch is something else. She doesn't know how to explain how being called a witch is, because she can hardly sleep because she's been labeled as a witch.
It has over the years given people a reason to torment, murder, and even exile elderly persons and sometimes children from their communities. Over the years, however, witch camps have served as haven for these people. Among such camps is the Bonyasa Witches Camp in the central Gonja district of the northern region.
When I came here, I came and met 6 other persons, and I came to be the 7th person. All the other 6 have been taken home. I am the only one still here. It means that I am the senior here.
Recently, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, as well as officials of ActionAid Ghana, arrived to close down the camp, freeing 5 accused witches from there and 50 from other camps in the country.
The 55 women here will be starting a new life. We have heard about the loss of livelihood, about the inability of 400 to 500 children and dependents of these women to access education, to go to school. We dominate the food chain. We are crop farmers. We market the food crops. We process the food and we cook the food. Now, from today, we are marching from the food chain to the power chain as women in Ghana.
Closing the camp, some people have termed as a laudable achievement, but it is incumbent on authorities to ensure that these women return to their communities and live there in safety and dignity.
Over the past year, we have ensured that the inmates of the witch camps receive social protection through LEAP and also by registering them on the National Health Insurance Scheme. We will ensure that they have access to Maslock and also to LESDEM.
So that was a piece of good news for 2014. For the witch camp, at least 1 closed down, 5 to go. We hope to get there, as Samuel says. If it is going to take us every 5 years to close 1, at least there is hope, good hope, that eventually all would be closed. But he hopes 2015 there'll be a lot more closed down than just 1 in 2014. In October 2014, Ghana was actually elected by the UN to the UN Assembly to serve a 2-year term on the UN 15-member Human Rights Council. Let me poke your thoughts on that. We are on. Are we doing well? Are we taking advantage of this privilege?
Yes.
Is it a privilege at all in the first place?
Of course. It's a recognition that you are working on your human right, or your human right records are above average. If you don't get above average, you wouldn't get to that position.
Yeah.
And it also, first of all, before I forget, let me commend the Minister of Gender for some of the things she's doing.
Okay.
I think that we need to support her more. As I said, close a lot more witches camp.
Yeah.
And we have to make use of that ministry before, if we should embark on any demolition. Every demolition should be referred to this this institution for an advice before they should proceed on it.
Okay.
So coming back to the UN election, nomination that we have got, it also adds to our credibility, and also place more responsibility on us to be up and doing. Because you cannot be elected to this committee, and then at your backyard, you are violating the right of the very people that this committee is supposed to protect.
Exactly.
So absolutely, Ghana, we don't have any excuse at all.
Yeah.
In 2015, we want to please with AMA or whoever and so on. Please, if there's any demolition, let us be involved.
It should go through the proper procedure.
Yes, proper procedure, so that we will not be, they will not be deducting mark from our human rights records.
And in 2015, we still have some spaces yet to be occupied by people.
Yes.
If they are not supposed to be occupied, they shouldn't wait for the place to get crowded.
Of course.
You spot one person there, stop it.
Of course. Of course. We are supposed to, the people are paid to protect state properties. And
but you see, human rights activists, my problem, my issue with you.
Yes.
You also live in the community, the society. You see it happening.
Yes.
Why don't you prompt the AMA to prevent human rights abuse? If you, after they have finished, you call it an abuse.
You see, that's a good question, but don't forget that I will be more concerned with those whose rights are abused now. I'll be more concerned in educating the public that these are your rights. You are not supposed to settle on this land and so on. But the AMA that has much, or the local government that has much more responsibilities and resources available. There's local government in every corner of this country. If they are unable to do it, how much more some of us will be able to do it?
No, so when you elect them and they don't...
You elect them, especially the media. You're doing a fantastic job in that area. You see one or two people settling at a particular place, you elect you put it out there.
You put it out there, yeah.
For them to see. What are they supposed to do?
They don't see.
Yes. You see a pipe burst somewhere, and you put it on air. What are you supposed to do? Are they supposed to do? Quickly.
A few times, by the time we go for a second shot,
they have done it.
They've done it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is the power of radio and television. So you guys are doing a fantastic job. If I see something like that, I'll let you know, because I don't have the gadgets to go and cover that and do this. Most of the time, we alert the media that help. This and this and it is happening. We are in partnership, so but we want those who are paid, particularly paid, to do that particular job, to do the right thing.
So moving
stop the people from settling. Yeah. Then you are free.
Moving into 2015, what is expected? Let's take it from the people you protect first.
Yes.
How much education is going to be dedicated to those people by our human rights activists to make sure that they don't even pave the way for their rights to be trampled upon?
Yes, it is important. You know, one of the priorities of the UN is to promotion of human rights. Promoting means that you engage the public in public education on their right. Most of the time, it is evidence that when people know their right, they are able to protect it. And they are also able to protect other people's rights. They are more likely not to offend the right of other people. So when people are aware, that is why we are advocating that human rights should be taught from primary school to the university level. At the GGA School of Journalism, human rights should be taught. The police, the military, the local government, everybody. When ministers are appointed, the orientation should be on human rights as well. When we all know our rights, you know, the development of a country is measured not only in the physical structures that we see, but the rate at which, or the extent to which we go protecting each other's right. The rate at which we go doing the right thing as a country. Human rights is not only about your right, it's also about your responsibility.
Sure.
You're supposed to pay your taxes. You're not supposed to throw rubbish here and there. You're supposed to ensure that when you see any bad thing, you don't have to condone crime. When you see a crime going on somewhere, you have to report to the appropriate authorities and so on and so forth. This is what we mean by human rights. So moving forward in 2015, we would like education to cover this. That's why I said earlier that media houses like yourself will have to do a lot more, give a lot more space to human rights. Unfortunately, because human rights doesn't pay, even human rights doesn't pay as much as other field, people are reluctant in investing into human rights.
Yeah.
I think that we need a lot more investment and support into human rights so that we can reach out to a large number of people. You go to the communities, rural areas and villages, and you see how people's rights are being abused in the community.
Within the community.
Any child that dies...
You see, within the community,
Yes.
They don't see that as an abuse. The same thing carried to the cities is seriously considered an abuse. But it's a traditional setup.
Yes, of course.
Would you blame our traditional setup for the few things that happen that you, the learned, would term human rights?
Of course, you know, even human rights in Africa, there's a debate as to whether in Africa we have what we call human rights in the first place. Because when you look at our cultural practices, some of them clearly contradict the principles of human rights or the universality of human rights. We have sacrificed human beings before.
Sure.
When a chief dies, they say somebody needs to carry...
A servant needs to go along.
How absurd is that? How absurd? When the chief was he born with a servant accompanying him? But we've done that.
Yeah.
But then we've gone past that. What it means is that a human rights issue in Africa is not an event that is going to happen one day. It is going to be a process. Some of the communities that have engaged told me point blank that we never knew that what we were doing. For example, when a person is suspected to be a witch, they go and mix concoction. They take things from the rubbish dump. They take all kinds of things and then give to the person to drink. To prove that it's not the cause of the husband's death or it's not a witch or whatever it is and so on.
Sometimes I hear they bath the corpse and squeeze the water for you to drink.
Yes.
With some other concoctions.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one, logically, whether you are the one or not, definitely you're going to have a problem with your health.
Health-wise.
Yes. I mean, you don't need a scientist to tell you or the spiritualist to tell you that you are going to die.
Yeah.
Because drinking all these things into the system, definitely you are going to have a problem with your health. And then when it happened, they say, yes, you did it. This is completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Completely unacceptable. So some communities are coming up. They are understanding the principle that these practices, we have to let go of them.
Have you ever seen chicken lying on its back before?
No, I haven't seen it.
But I understand when a witch is caught.
Yes.
One of the things to prove that you are not a witch is you present a chicken, and once the chicken lies on its back, then you are cleared on its own.
How many
you are cleared. You are not a witch.
How many chickens are able to lie?
Exactly. So obviously you'll be a witch.
So when they give you when there's a joke that when a teacher is looking for a particular child to beat, it gives the child a question that the child would never
obviously cannot
be able to answer. So you take that opportunity to beat up the child. So you see that to be able to prove that you are not a witch, a chicken, or a fowl to lie on its back, this is impossible. You see, so we are saying that yes, we'll get there. Ghana is still a developing country. We don't expect that overnight all our cultural practices will be done with. But gradually, if we engage in aggressive education on human rights and respect for human rights is not a mystery. It's that I respect you as a woman, you respect me as a man. You respect me as a husband, I respect you as a wife. You respect me as a teacher, and I respect you as a student.
And if you respect children, you get that back.
Yes, you respect children. If you respect children, you don't go removing their panties and make them an adult by force.
No.
You will give them that opportunity as children. Yeah. So human rights is about respecting each other. Your management respects the work you are doing, and they compensate you with the necessary remuneration that will make your work be effective. That is all about human rights. It's just about normal, natural principle of respect and mutual coexistence. And let me say this. Development in any other form, be it health, education, physical structure, and so on, cannot happen in an environment where there is no peace. It cannot happen in an environment where there's no peace.
Sure.
And respect for human rights promote peaceful coexistence of all of us.
Yeah.
Peaceful coexistence. And if all of us respect each other's rights and we could exist in a peaceful environment, then development can then take place.
Yeah. Okay. Before we wrap up, let me also poke this from you. This with you. How are you observing Christmas? Today is Boxing Day.
Yes.
Christmas is past. Boxing Day. Are you going about for the Christmas, giving out some presents?
Yeah, I have a small show with my family.
Okay.
And my church, we're going out to give some items. I was actually preparing for that, but because of this show,
okay,
I have to rush to this place and then share our human rights experience in a week with our viewers, and then go back and then join the show.
Okay, okay. So it means at least you don't just protect, but when it is the season 2, you remember all the people you protect and give out to them.
Of course.
That's beautiful.
Of course.
Right. So we wish you well, Mr. Samuel Agboche. We thank you so much for also stopping the preparation and joining us here.
Yes.
And we will leave you to rush back to join the show. So you complete your human rights obligation for the year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. So this has been a review session of human rights related issues that happened the year 2014 in Ghana, and we were joined by Samuel Agboche, the Executive Secretary of the of IDEC. So he shared with us all he thinks and all the hopes for 2015. I'll repeat that again. He says that if it's taking us a long time to close one witch camp, if every 5 years we will be able to close one, there's a brighter light at the end of the tunnel. But it is his hope and wish that in 2015 we are able to close more than one and possibly all. In a moment, we come back on News Desk after this short break and talk a bit more about issues that happened the year 2014. Continue staying with us.